Okay. I wasn't going to open it. I know that sounds stupid. It's just a package. People get wrong deliveries all the time, but this one, it felt different. I don't really know how to explain that without sounding dramatic. It was just a brown box, normal size, Amazon tape, my address printed clean across the front. But the name on it wasn't mine, and it wasn't a name I'd ever heard before moving here. This is the recording I'm making after I opened it. I live in a small one-bedroom apartment on the second floor of a 3-story building. Nothing special. Beige siding, narrow hallways, that faint smell of carpet cleaner that never fully goes away. I moved in about 4 months ago. Rent was cheap for the area, which should have been my first red flag, I guess. But I didn't think about that at the time. I work from home, graphic design stuff, so I'm usually here when packages get dropped off. The mailboxes are by the front entrance, but bigger deliveries get left in the hallway near the stairs. There's no front desk, no cameras that I know of, just a keypad lock on the main door that half the tenants prop open anyway. The package was sitting outside my apartment door when I got back from grabbing coffee downstairs. It was around 2 p.m., right out, normal day, nothing weird. Except the name. Elliot R. Madsen. That's not me. I stood there for a second just looking at it. I figured maybe it was for someone in another unit and the delivery guy messed up. Happens all the time. But the apartment number was mine. 2B. I checked the label twice. Same address, my address. I almost just brought it downstairs and left it by the mailboxes, but I didn't. Because something about the name felt familiar, and I couldn't figure out why. I brought it inside and set it on my kitchen counter. My kitchen is basically part of the living room. Tiny L-shaped counter, white cabinets that don't close all the way unless you slam them. I just stood there staring at the box while my coffee got cold. I told myself I'd check with the landlord first. Her name's Denise, late 40s, always wears those oversized cardigans. She lives in 1A. I texted her a picture of the label and asked if someone by that name used to live here. She didn't reply right away, which wasn't unusual. So I went about my day, tried to work, but I kept glancing at the box. There was no return address, just one of those generic fulfillment center codes. Around 4 p.m., Denise texted back, "Why?" That was it. Not "I'll check" or "I don't know," just "Why?" I told her it was a package delivered to my unit with that name on it. She didn't respond for almost an hour. Then she sent, "Don't open it. I'll take care of it." That made my stomach drop a little, because that's not what people say about wrong deliveries. They say, "Just leave it outside," or "I'll come grab it," not "Don't open it." I asked if someone used to live in 2B with that name. She didn't reply again. That's when it hit me. I'd heard that name before. The night I signed my lease. We were in her apartment filling out paperwork. I remember she hesitated for a second before handing me the keys, and she said something like, "The previous tenant left suddenly, so let me know if you notice anything unusual." I thought she meant maintenance stuff, and I remember glancing at the old mail still stacked on her kitchen counter. There was an envelope with the name Elliot Madsen on it. I didn't think about it again until I was standing in my kitchen staring at that box. Around 7 p.m., I heard a knock. 3 slow knocks. I jumped, which is embarrassing to admit. When I opened the door, Denise was standing there. No cardigan this time, just a hoodie and jeans. She looked tense, like she hadn't slept well. "Where is it?" she asked. I pointed to the counter. She stepped inside without waiting for me to invite her. She stared at the box for a long time. "You shouldn't have brought it in," she said quietly. I told her I hadn't opened it. She nodded, but didn't look relieved. I asked who Elliot was. She didn't answer for a second. Then she said, "He lived here before you. He passed." That word, passed. It sounded rehearsed. I asked how. She said it wasn't my concern. And then she picked up the box. That's when I noticed something I hadn't before. The shipping label wasn't flat anymore. The corner was peeling slightly, like it had been lifted and pressed back down. I said that out loud without thinking. Denise froze. "What do you mean?" she asked. I walked over and pointed to the edge. It looked like someone had tried to remove the label. Her face changed. Not scared exactly, more calculating. She set the box back down slowly.
"I'll come back for it," she said, and then she left. She didn't take it. That's when things started feeling wrong in a way I couldn't rationalize. That night, around 11:30 p.m., I heard a soft scraping sound near my front door, like cardboard shifting against the floor. I live alone. I don't have pets. I told myself it was the building settling, the hallway draft, anything else. But the sound came again. I walked quietly to the door and looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty, but the package wasn't where I left it. It was on the kitchen counter. Now it was on the floor near the door. I know how that sounds. I didn't move it. There's no way I did and forgot. It was centered on the counter, I remember, because I moved my laptop to make space for it. Now it was on the floor, tilted slightly, like it had been nudged. My first thought was that Denise had come back and I didn't hear her, but my deadbolt was still locked from the inside. I checked twice. I didn't sleep much that night. Around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was a notification from my delivery app. Your package has been delivered. The same tracking number. Delivered at 1:58 a.m. I was staring at it. The box was already in my apartment. I refreshed the app. It still said delivered. I checked the tracking history. It showed out for delivery earlier that afternoon, then delivery attempted, then nothing. And now, delivered at 1:58 a.m. I didn't touch the box after that. The next morning, I went downstairs to check the mailboxes. There was a folded notice taped to the inside of the main entrance. No envelope, just paper. It said, "If you receive mail for Elliot Madsen, do not open it. Contact management immediately." No signature, no date. The paper looked old. The edges were yellowed slightly. I asked the guy in 2A if he'd ever seen that notice before. He looked confused. He said he'd lived there for 2 years and never seen anything like that. I asked if he knew what happened to the previous tenant in 2B. He hesitated. Then he said, "Didn't you hear?" I told him no. He lowered his voice. They found him inside the apartment, but it wasn't normal. I asked what that meant. He shook his head. Denise doesn't like people talking about it. That didn't help. I went back upstairs. The package was still there, and I realized something else. It felt heavier. I know that sounds impossible, but when I picked it up, it had weight, more than I remembered. Before, it felt like maybe a book or something small. Now it felt dense, like something solid was inside. I set it back down. I noticed the tape along the top seam wasn't sealed evenly anymore. There was a slight gap in the middle, like it had been opened. I swear to you, I did not open it. I stood there for maybe 5 full minutes just staring at that gap. Then I grabbed a knife from the kitchen drawer. I told myself this was stupid. It was probably nothing. I slid the blade under the tape and lifted. The box opened easily. Inside was a smaller box. No padding, no bubble wrap, just another box. This one was plain white, no label. My hands were shaking at that point. I opened the white box. There was a phone inside, old model, black, screen cracked in the corner. It wasn't powered on. There was no charger, just the phone. Under it, folded neatly, was a single sheet of paper. It said, "If you're seeing this, you're in 2B." That's it. No name, no explanation, just that. I sat down on the kitchen floor because I suddenly remembered something else Denise had said when I moved in. She told me the Wi-Fi router had already been reset and that the previous tenant had left things behind, but she'd cleared everything out. I picked up the phone. I held down the power button. Nothing. Dead battery. I went to my bedroom and grabbed an old charger from a drawer. It fit. When I plugged it in, the screen lit up immediately. It had charge, almost full. There was no lock screen, just the home screen. One notification. A voice memo app. Unplayed recording. Timestamped 3 days ago. I live in this apartment 4 months ago. I hit play, and the first thing I heard was my own voice saying, "Okay, I don't know why I'm recording this." The recording cut off. It was only 4 seconds long. I checked the date again. 3 days ago. I was home 3 days ago. Working. I don't remember recording anything. There was only one other file in the app, dated almost a year ago. I haven't played that one yet. I don't know if I will, because the delivery app just updated again. It says the package is still out for delivery, and I can hear something outside my door right now. Not knocking, just waiting. I haven't looked through the peephole this time. I think I'm going to leave the box by the door, and I'm not answering it if someone knocks. If this phone records anything else tonight, I'll update this. But I need to stop now, because the handle just moved, slowly, like someone testing if it's unlocked. And I just realized something. I never gave anyone my name, but the recording from 3 days ago used it.